welcome. This is the first ever Before I Die radio interview. Pretty much, I want to start documenting what goes on behind the scenes, not just the nightlife, not just the design, but also fellow creatives, artists, musicians, whatever the case may be, that kind of share the same ecosystem that we are building here. So I have the GOAT here. I've been watching this man literally since 2021.
Damn.
I've seen every single piece of his evolution, from literally being in Florida. Now we're in his studio in New York. Being able to watch this man grow as not just from kind of going from an artist and now like a multidisciplinary genius of what he does, and now adding in product. For example, the chain. Like, we're gonna get into all of that, but I want to introduce the one and only Dimithry Victor.
Thank you. That was a great intro. That was an amazing intro. Wow.
Well, first and foremost, I guess the first question I want to ask, because I feel like I've seen so many different stages of all of your art, and now being in the studio, how have you transitioned from just the atmosphere and the environment of being a creative in Florida versus New York? Like, what's kind of like the main differences that you see?
The main difference, I would say, I guess there's more opportunities to get inspired here, because like the city is so lively. I think like when you're in Florida, one thing I noticed is like you're in your car a lot.
Yeah.
So like when you're driving, you just see other cars. You're just in traffic all day.
Yeah.
So you might not see things like on the street. But here, like I'm on the street. I don't have a car here. So I just walk around, and there's like always something going on. Like I could walk by, like see like a brownstone and like how they decorate it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Or like I'm walking by, I see a storefront, I'm like, oh, that's dope. Or like you just walk by, there's a pop-up, you can go in there and like, oh shit, what is this? Like it's like,
and there's always, the city is literally alive. Versus Florida, it's like there's events and things on certain days, but here it's like you can walk and find 10 events on the same day.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like there's just a lot more things happening all the time, and it's like a good thing and a bad thing, because I feel like Florida's more like lax. You can kind of relax. It's not really a place that's meant to kind of be on the go all the time. Whereas like here, your mind is always overstimulated in a way, because there's always so much stuff going on.
For sure. No, I definitely agree with that. And kind of piggybacking off of that, just kind of talking more and more about your origin, take me back even more. What's kind of like the first experience that you've had, like picking up a paintbrush versus picking it up seriously as an artist, and then to the point where you're at now, where it's not even like something that you're trying to do, it's a part of you. Like, you are an artist. It's muscle memory, where you pick up a paintbrush and you don't even necessarily have to think about how you're gonna composition everything, you know?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, bro. I didn't start painting until 2020.
Wow. Literally around it. Wow.
Like a lot of the paintings that you saw in the very beginning, that was me learning how to paint. Like,
wow.
I'm still, even to this day, I feel like I'm still just learning how to paint. Like, every painting that I make is like I use it as a challenge. So I would like give myself different challenges. So that's why like you'll see the work every time I make a new painting is kind of different.
I feel like you always add something, whether it's like perspective change, or like there's certain things, like for example, even like watching your like how you paint jewelry and like golds and things like that. Seeing that develop is insane. Like the smallest details that you kind of improve on.
Yeah, because I'm literally learning.
I'm learning.
Like, so every time I do it, like, people think it's a stylistic choice. Sometimes it is, but sometimes like I don't have the skills where I want, like, to make it look like how I want. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's not. So what I do is I work within what I can do. So if I'm limited and I don't know how to paint gold like that, okay, cool. I'm gonna make it look cool, but still like use what I can to make it look how I want to, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I guess when it comes to that, apart from like origin, in terms of identity, how do you feel like you kind of understand yourself as you're growing as an artist, pretty much in front of the world? Like you're growing in terms of like your social media, things like that, but like outside of that, as a creative, you do have to kind of, even, it's almost like you get to a point where you create the art, but then the art at some point is kind of creating you and molding you, where you're setting up this proposition and this perspective, but then on top of that, you're also learning and growing as just even as a young adult in life. Like, how do you feel like you've kind of understand more parts of yourself through art? I
think the biggest thing that I've learned through art is I'm not crazy, which is dope. Because I think, bro, I feel like every artist can relate to this, but when you're younger and you're like telling your ideas or showing your ideas, everybody kind of thinks you're crazy a little bit, because you're just
especially like, when you're passionate about them.
Yeah, bro, listen, of course. Like, you gotta understand, like me, when I growing up, I wasn't put in an environment that was where I was encouraged to pursue art. If anything, it was the opposite. Like when I was in school, I did really good in school. Everybody was telling me like, oh yeah, you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor. So then imagine the look on their face when I'm like, no, I want to be an artist. I want to be an artist, bro. People looked at me crazy. They're like, why would you want to be an artist? You're gonna be broke forever, you know. And so I think like that was the number one thing is like
going into anything creative. There's that, especially coming from like being from coming from Haitian culture. You come over here and it's like you're told you gotta do it in a certain way. Now there's almost like a new breath of like what new Americana can be, what new American dream can be, which I kind of feel like even from like what Before I Die is doing, even in this interview right now, this is kind of display of new Americana, because it's like we're not that we're not supposed to be here, but like there's a certain formula that comes with, okay, you come over here, there's a certain like life you have to live. Telling your parents, hey, like I'm gonna do art, it's like, what? Like, you're gonna do what now?
So sometimes, like looking back now, I feel like I get it, because bro, we didn't have a lot of money, so I guess it was just more out of fear that they didn't get it. And I think also it was a lot of people, even that I was around like in school, like my teachers and stuff like that. Like we have career day, and they're asked like, oh, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I'm the only one in there saying artist. You know what I mean? And like they look at me crazy, because imagine like you the smartest kid in class, so you like the nerd. Everybody sees me as a nerd, and I'm like, nah, I want to like make comics. I want to be a painter. I want to. So I'm looking crazy, and I feel like as I did more art and when it started to work, I think the biggest thing I got from it was confidence, because like in school, people kind of make you feel like less than because you want to do something that's different or like
outside of
and even like the art that I wanted to make, like it didn't look like that. A lot of the art that I was making back then was based on like what people would like, you know. It's like realistic stuff. People like realistic stuff, I'm gonna do that. If the kids like comic books,
the safe art,
but I had all these ideas, and in my mind I'm thinking like, oh, like these ideas aren't good because they don't like them. And it's like now those same ideas that I had as a kid are what's making me able. That's what's flourishing. So I had like so much confidence in it. I guess it's just like that confidence has allowed me to just be just better overall as a person, bro. Because like now it's like, well, if I got confidence in my art now, I can have confidence in how I dress.
And every other kind of piece. And
you just don't
kind of
care.
Going into that too, like I always like to ask, because I feel like even as creatives who are so focused on one specific kind of like doctrine, like for example, like obviously painting, and then now you're kind of getting into product and jewelry, like with the Jesus chain that you did. Going into that, what kind of other, outside of what you do, what other things kind of inspire the art? Like, well, music especially, because I know myself, like music, it's like music, classic movies definitely inspire me a lot. What's kind of some of the things that inspire like the themes and the meanings behind like the artwork as well?
I love history a lot. Like I'm always just learning. So remember, it's funny, like all the stuff that I was doing as a kid kind of like rolled around, but basically when I was a kid, part of the reason I did really good in school was just because like I love learning. Like I genuinely just have a love for learning. And so when I was like trying to figure out how I wanted to do my art, I always try to like do some type of research, and that research kind of informs the work. So like it might be, I might like start reading about bodybuilders, and then I just make a painting about that, or like I'll start reading about jewelry and like the history of jewelry, or like how it's mined in Africa, and like I want to make a piece about it, you know. And I do that, or like I might read a book, or like read some interview, or not read, but watch an interview.
Got you.
You know, with something that's religious, and I get like inspired to do that, and I like learn more. I'm like so obsessed with learning that like right now what I do is I do series of works instead of just like one random pieces. Because once I get into something, I get deep into it. So like I get really deep into it. I want to like learn more about it, and I start finding like different ways to include the things that I learned within the pieces.
Makes sense.
You know, and so like that's usually what inspires a piece. Like even like with the Jesus piece, I made that painting in like 2023, and I had the idea, but at that time I wasn't doing series, and like recently now I'm doing like this series on like the Black church and all this stuff. But I had it on my mind, but now it's like I'm really deep into it, so I'm like bringing all that stuff back basically, and like really getting deep into it instead of trying to.
That is a piece of like having such a deep well of like how much art you've created, is that you can almost like reference yourself. Like you can go back and like, oh, like what did I do in 2022? Oh yeah, like that's kind of like a bit of like where I'm going. I can still even like take bits and pieces of that, but then even make it that much better to bring it into that version of in 2026.
I think it's also, it makes it easier for people to keep up too. Like even when you was talking about music, like a lot of my favorite musicians have eras, you know, like Michael Jackson had the Thriller era. Like they separate his career within the eras. Even Picasso has like eras, and I'm like, Well, it makes it easier to do eras because I know I'm really into this thing at that time. Yeah. I'm just gonna do that. I'm not gonna try to like keep switching up and try to come up with new ideas. If I'm into this thing, I'm gonna go fully at it and just do that at that time.
No, and I think that with that, I wish honestly more artists, and not even just artists in particular, but just more creatives in general, kind of followed suit, because that allows you to really build that specific world. Like someone who we kind of were talking about off camera who does it really well is Tyler the Creator, where Igor is Igor. Like that was a whole person. Cherry Bomb was a whole person, an aesthetic that went along with it.
He's like the Black David Bowie.
Like literally, like he's able to really bring you into an entire perspective and like really understand what was going in his life. But then also like it's also in a way where it's not even necessarily practical, because the worlds are so like he's walking around with this like this like yellow bob everywhere, and you're like this blonde bob and in a suit at all times, and then on top of that, being able to, as someone who's seen him live, being immersed in that, it's like, okay, you understand the world from the music, then he has an interview about it, and then you're there in person, then you're there. Like everything that he spoke about is like in fruition. I think that level of production, even if you can't do it at that same scale as a multi-million-dollar budget, there's ways, even in being able to have that your own power and make it a theme and an era for yourself within painting, is that much more like, I don't want to say easy, like it is easier to follow, but also just in the sense that people can reference it. Like we like, for example, when we talk about the Kanye West my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy era, you look back at that and you're like, that was an era. You remember, you damn near can remember where you were when you heard this song, and now it's tied, and then it makes your work even almost like
it has a story to it.
It almost makes it a part of history, because they look back at their own personal lives and they go, oh, when I was 19, this is the artwork I was inspired by. They're referencing you, and then they reference, okay, and that Kanye album came out, I was listening to this while seeing these paintings, and now you're part of that person's personal history, and then you bring that to a wider scale. It's like, okay, you might not yet, because it's going to happen, you might not be at the point where it's like, okay, millions of people are watching this and that becomes history for millions of people, but when it gets there, it's like right now, okay, it might be 10, 20, 30,000 people that it's a part of their history, that they'll look back and say, yeah, there's this artist, I remember when I was this old, da 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 da. Once it gets to that scale, that's where it's like, okay, you're almost ingrained almost in American culture. Like that's where it's real, because if you think of Michael Jackson, you can't think of like, when people say who's the most famous person ever, most famous American person ever, instantly you're like, Michael Jackson. No one's ever going to be bigger than that.
Dude, I think he might be American history. Time.
Yeah, all time. No, for sure.
All time.
Like not even just American.
I think also the cool thing about like eras too is like it's reflective of like the time that they were in. Yeah. I'm always talking about this with my art, that like I try to make work that's reflective of our time, because sometimes I at least right now a lot of people reference nostalgia, and I think, you know, sometimes it's cool, but we have to like move forward. Like we have to make
it's 2026. We got to push it forward,
because in the future when people look back, they don't want to see Y2K. They want to see like, what did 2020 look like or feel like. I think what's cool about eras is that like they're a reflection of what's going on in that person's life or in the world at that time, so you can't ever recreate it. It's like what you get at that time is what's happening at that time. It's like when I make a painting, like if I'm talking about the Black church, right, and I make a painting that criticizes it, and it's funny, like I make a painting like that, and then you see like Drewski making a skit.
How did I know you were gonna say that?
No, it's just I'm just saying, it's like
it's so real, because I wanted to speak specifically about that, because as someone who also grew up in the church, and then you kind of get older, it's like I still try to keep my own personal relationship, but also kind of being able to not necessarily like, you have to kind of separate it, because I think a lot of people will toward like kind of have that hatred that they had for people in the church, and then bring that towards God, when it's like those people in the church aren't even representing God. Like the pastors are not supposed to be flying 50 feet in the air with a Hellcat on stage. Like, what's going on? So you look at that and you think like it's weird, because sometimes I really don't like, I used to feel like when I was younger, when I didn't understand it, I'd be like, why do people like are so like negative about the church? And then you look and you get older and you're like, you understand it, because there's certain things that that the church could be doing that they're not actually tackling those issues, but then we'll still get on the street and kind of like like kind of be a voice when they're not a voice for the common. I feel like some churches aren't voices for common people anymore.
Yeah.
It's like all like you look at the back end and they're backed by this $1 million company that's like buying up real estate in the background, like buying up the houses of the people that go to the church.
Yeah.
They're gentrifying, like, but because they got bought out, it's like they can't speak to those issues. Because before, I think what I noticed in your work as well, like for example, looking at that specific painting, you guys can't see it, but I'll put it on the screen later. But looking at that specific painting, that particularly reminds me of kind of like where the church was in like Jim Crow era. Jim Crow era church was like, it was almost like a political entity.
Yeah.
Versus now it's like, what does the church do for the common person? Like, it's sad to say, but what does the church do for the common person?
I feel like the biggest thing I try to do with my work is like show the dichotomy.
Yeah.
Because there's always good and the bad.
Exactly.
But like you also have to like, you can't talk about the good without talking about the bad.
Exactly.
I think sometimes people get really biased and
especially when it comes to the church. It's like, and I'm like, I get what you're saying, but you can't also just be like, hey, I did all this wrong. Let me just be like, I'm gonna give it to Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can do that, but you still have the consequences of like what you did to that person in this realm, like in this secular realm. Because it's not like, obviously we're talking about the spiritual, but you did something wrong in the secular to this person.
Yeah.
You're being backed by a company that's buying out and gentrifying like half of your congregation's houses. They're being bought out, but because you signed this deal in the back end, you're just gonna be like, well, Jesus is gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
No, like you're doing wrong. You can't just like, you can't wash that.
Yeah.
Like you can wash that, but you can't wash that like secular human to human. You still did that thing.
Yeah,
like,
it's interesting because like, bro, like all of it is absurd, and it's the thing is like people always ask me like, oh, like why do you paint things or like make it look the way it is? And I think it's just because like life is absurd. Like at this very moment, and when it comes to like 2020, if I were to think of like what does like what is representative of the 2020s, it's just absurdity. Everything is absurd. Like if I were to tell you the state of politics right now, you'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah,
like
especially
in the future,
even like back, like, and in the future it could be even crazier or completely different from what it is right now.
But it's gonna sound crazy. Like you elected a billionaire that was on reality TV.
Yeah.
Why would
like what are we?
You know what I mean? Or like what? Like you telling me there was Epstein files and y'all
and that's the thing. It's like, like to speak specifically about the church, not to like kind of still harping on that, but like the church.
But no, it's still
there was no word about that. What pastor did you see like on the front line saying release the files?
Nah, none. And then you look back on it, and like he gets elected, and half of these like major church pastors are there. Yeah. But Epstein files. Zip. Yeah. It's absurd.
Like,
it's absurd. And so it's like the art. I feel like the art that you make has to be reflective of the times that you're in. If something's absurd, you gotta call it out. Because like I thought that was the whole point of art, anyways. Like art is supposed to be punk. You know, they're supposed to.
It's supposed to really question the status quo consistently.
Yeah.
Consistently. Like, hey, if this is like even with one of the artworks that I wanted to talk about, I think it was like I forgot the exact name of it. I think it was like something, and the crowd goes wild, or the crowd cheers, something like that.
And the crowd goes wild with the football players.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was like the painting is so like it's very like in your face, but also there's small details of like brain damage, like that small social commentary that we're allowing. Like even with the Miami Dolphins QB, he has like 3 concussions. Oof. Why is this man still playing? Like the last one was life threatening. So what is it now? If he gets hit again, he's going, like, I don't want to say it, but he might just croak on the field.
When I made that painting, I was like doing a whole thing about sports. Well, not even just sports. It was about like Americana, like what we were talking about. I had a whole show about like the American dream and like the lengths that people were willing to achieve that dream.
At Velvet Velour, if I remember.
No, that was at NSU Art Museum. That was like last year.
This is okay. Got you. Yes.
But that piece was in that show. But part of the reason I even did that piece was because it's like what we were talking about, like the lengths that people were willing to get to what they consider the American dream. Like people were willing to destroy their bodies, especially like black people. You know what I mean? Like we're put in a situation where like people kind of see us as like, our gifts only matter when it's certain gifts. Yeah. When it comes to like sports, arts, creativity, you could get millions off of that. But it's like, how many black people do you know are making billions off of like, or millions off of like just their business is rare. So it's like just showing that type of
it's
thing.
Still it's almost like still commodity
it's still like almost, bro, it's like slavery.
It's still because it's almost like, okay, like it's you mean that much more if you're on that field versus you're not. Like even the way person can't even be a motivational speaker outside of that, but if they were on the football field and they could throw a ball real well, they're like, everyone loves them. But as soon as they retire, it's like you always see it with a lot of athletes. They retire and their life is like they don't know what to do with their life because they were only appreciated for that specific gift.
Or you can even go like way earlier. Like there's a lot of people who go to college, have a life-threatening, not life-threatening, but career-ending injury, and then they can't play football. And then you could see the difference. Like everybody in college loves you. Now you can't play football, and everybody feels like you just don't matter anymore. Now like real life hits, and that's the thing that
especially when they're like superstar. Like, you had 3 touchdowns last week. Yeah. What you gonna do this week? Oh, I'm actually out for the year. Oh, for real? Damn.
Yeah, and it's like things like that, bro. Like that to me is Americana. Like we sell ourselves, we sell our culture, we sell everything. American culture is just commodity. Everything is commodity. Like everybody's a product, everything is a product. You go anywhere, there's ads everywhere. Or you open up your phone, there's ads all the time. Like I said, it's absurd. But I feel like when people, at least our time right now, I feel like people are so used to it that they don't even realize that it's absurd.
You're just going through TikTok, you see 15, 16 ads in like 10 seconds.
And it's like things like, that's what I feel like there's so much inspiration in that. Like there's so much crazy things going on that it makes more sense to talk about those things than to be like referenced or be stuck on the past. Like, oh man, it was so good. Okay, cool. Even if it was better back then, it's like, no, we here right now.
Here,
so
we're in
like
the jungle.
The only thing you could do is talk about now.
And I definitely wanted to ask, like, in terms of like, because I know you spoke on like research, but is there another piece of like that process that even gets you to like get into the mood to like be creative, to like get to that flow state? Because obviously like there's a bit of like the research that goes into it. Could also be like the music. Is there any like last piece that you might not even like realize sometimes, like where you're like, oh wait, like for example with me, when I'm in my studio, if I light a candle and I'm listening to my music and I'm like I have like a Marc Jacobs like 2003 video of him like chain smoking in his Chanel studio running around, like I look at that, I'm like, oh, like once I don't know, that sometimes that missing piece of like, because I don't know if it's like all creatives at our age have a bit of ADHD, but I do feel like damn near if you're a creative or just a person that's like Gen Z, millennial, we all got a little bit of,
damn phones.
Literally, it's just some damn phones. But a piece of it is like, yo, I like that candle, and I'm like, oh, like it adds another aspect of like, okay, I'm here and I'm here to create. I don't like, and another thing too is, I'm really bad at it, but the phone, the phone has to go. I'm like, because it's like, all right, like I'm creating, I'm thinking about a dope piece, and then it's also the aspect of like, I don't even like to be like, I'll like to research things and ideas and things like that more than, okay, if I'm in this right now, I shouldn't be looking at no one else's brand, because then there's a piece of like, you might even just steal a button that you're not even thinking of, but it's that small detail where like I'm gonna look back and be like, that wasn't pure to me, and then it doesn't necessarily like dilute the art. I know it, like the consumer doesn't know, but I will know like, damn, that was a little too inspired, like too directly inspired, versus like, all right, if I look at, for example, like one of the references I have like with this new collection is kind of like an aspect of looking at like literally this new collection is focused on like new Americana, like a new American dream, because of kind of just looking at the aspect of even what we're doing right now. Like this whole thing started, like I said off camera, $400 Office Depot check when I was 17, and like real just grit and like working out and networking and all those other things. But looking at that, I kind of like look at just what that experience is like. We kind of touched on it on the commoditization of artists and of designers, where I kind of look at it like we had a perfect example of what New Americana had in Virgil. Like he was damn near like because even like someone like Kanye West, like though he's obviously still a part of New Americana, but an actual literal immigrant coming from a Nigerian family, growing up in Chicago, we have that example. So I kind of like look at that like, okay, like how could I bring certain aspects in from like that aspect of, hey, like just talking about your story and the different hints of like trying to blend like I literally started looking at like old like Haitian military uniforms. Like it's the collection is there's a
did you
lot
even
of
get
different,
into that? Like,
bro, it's certain things where like, because like as you were speaking, I literally was like, oh wait, this kind of reminds me of like one of the references that I have, but even like the barrettes and like there's certain different things like what a French barrette looks like versus an American, like all those different things of like looking at like the world and what it is now. Because I think honestly, a piece of where the world is heading to, it's not like you kind of feel like the world is on the edge of war every day when you, especially if you look at the news, you're like, China did this did this. It's almost like I'm like trying to play into the actual absurdity versus like just like make cool clothes is cool. I can make cool clothes, that's fine. But if I talk about what's actually going on in the world and my perspective of it, I think that's like the next level of where I want to connect. That's pretty much like the piece of like the rebrand of where I'm going to, but then also adding in the documentation of this, being able to talk to other people and like get where they're at and how they even create. So I think
that's
to reel all of that in, is there something else that helps you kind of get into a flow state, like outside of just?
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'll be watching TV.
Real,
bro. Like I'll be on my tablet just watching. But it has to be like a certain type of TV. It has to be. It has to be trash TV. It has to be like just brain dead, like things that you don't think.
That's so real. That's
like,
so real.
I'm talking like Maury. I'm talking like The Simpsons. Like just like things that you just put on and then just on the background.
That
like
think you might not be inspired.
Yeah, because oftentimes like when I'm painting, bro, like I get too in my head. Like I think a lot, right?
Gotcha.
So I need to have something that distracts me to just not think, and so it just be TV. Like if I'm watching an episode of The Simpsons, I'm not even.
You're not even really having to pay attention to it, but then you're also like now you're almost like in your unconscious mind, unconsciously just straight like soul to canvas or soul to even like sketch before it. You know what I'm saying? Turned into it's on canvas like that aspect. I think. It's funny enough because we're like not necessarily opposite in that, because I said, like it's not necessarily brain rot, but like am I paying attention to Marc Jacobs and on the TV screen run around his Chanel office at all? But it's almost like the atmosphere and the attitude of like, okay, I'm not there yet. This is like this is a piece of where I want to be, like running around in my New York, like one of my New York, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's the ambiance though.
Yeah,
like it adds, like I feel like for me, the ambiance that I get from it is just like it's lax. It's it's relaxed, because like when you have this TV on in the background, at least when I was growing up, when you have a TV in the background, like you just a bunch of stuff going on, you don't feel like you're working.
When it comes to vulnerability in your artwork, do you feel like there's any parts of yourself that you kind of risk that you risk when you kind of express your art? Like, say if you're going through like a heartbreak or something like that. Like, obviously you and your girl are like good, and like I'm not wishing just so you know, I'm not wishing that on you at all, nothing like that. But in the sense of like just in certain themes, like say if you're painting something that's very dark, people might think like, oh, so is he okay? Like, is he going through things? Like, but it's also kind of like a second caveat to that question. Do you feel like any risk you might take in exposing your actual true feelings in your artwork, do you feel like that risk is necessary to get the best art? Because there's certain people, for example, when it comes to music, it's like there's some people who let everything out, and you're like, I don't even need to know this. I don't need to know this. Do you feel like there's obviously certain things that you can risk versus you don't want to risk? Do you feel like, when do you feel like certain things that might be necessary to like be vulnerable in your artwork, if there is any time for that?
I feel like so a lot of the work that I make is about people, so I guess like my thoughts on stuff is usually kind of associated with that. So like if you see that I'm criticizing something, it's probably like my personal thoughts on it, you know. But in terms of like heartbreak, bro, and like other emotions, things like that, like I don't really care. Like I'm gonna be honest, I'm at the point where I don't care. I don't care. If somebody doesn't like the thing or they don't get it, I don't care. You know, because at least I know I did my best to make this look fire. Because I'm in visual art, so at the end of the day, like my emotions or feelings towards something only matter if it results into the thing looking fire.
Got it.
If the thing looks like ass,
if it's not good, it's not good.
Like you could make a song that's really vulnerable, but if it's ass, it's ass. Like if you're yelling on the track and it don't sound good, like I don't care, you know? It's ass. Like, so at the end of the day, it's like the emotions and everything is cool, but painting is such a long process that I can't just use my emotions to make it up on a whim. You know what I mean?
Understood.
It's a whole process. Like I could be mad at that moment, and the next day I come back, I'm like,
yeah, especially
I'm not that mad no more.
when it takes so long. Because even that's another thing I feel like I face in design, because production takes, like, especially now in the aspect of I'm not just like screen printing. I'm going to this manufacturer. This button is coming from this with this kind of like new level of the brand. It's like I can't. Like I kind of shifted the perspective of talking about just like either things I'm going through versus like making cool shit to now speaking about perspective in like outside world, but then also creating a world from that aesthetic, like how you do with your art. Like this is a world that all these figures kind of live in that talk about certain topics. That is also another way of like where I'm trying to bring the brand and the clothing to. So I feel like with that aspect, as you said, there's a piece of it where it's like I just gotta sit back and be like, if it's good or not good. Like you can't think, oh well, I personally because like nah, if is it good or is it not good? That's just like what it is. When you get to a certain scale of art and productivity, like it has to just be good. Yeah. Like you bring your emotion to it, great, but did you bring it in and it's good?
Because like but honestly, we gotta stop lying to artists, man.
Yeah, straight up.
I feel like
good or not good.
Bro. Because I feel like we as artists do this thing where it's like it's about the emotion and like expressing yourself. You can express yourself, but it has to be good. Like technically it has to be good. Like if you make clothes and you made a whole collection, you put your heart and soul into it, cool. Yeah. But if it doesn't look good and nobody want to wear it, like what are we doing?
At the end of the day, it's like the consumer is as messed up as it is, the consumer votes with their dollar. It's just what it is. Like, hey, did you like okay, if something took 3 months to sell out versus you sold out in a week, that thing that sold in a week, it might it might be trending, might be whatever, but from the consumer's eyes, it was better. So
and just like on it's just a technical level, you know what I mean? Like I hate, especially when it comes to the fashion, brands do this thing where they, at least recently, I don't know if it's because of Virgil or whoever, but they focus more on like the story and like the who they're supposed to represent versus the actual quality of the clothes, and
especially
you buy
in their fashion shows as well. It's like it's a bravado. It's like they got a flaming windmill coming through the middle of the fashion show, and then like you look at the clothes, it's like the clothes aren't good because at the end of the day, it's like
but it's the quality, bro. Even if it's like visually, it's not my thing, but if the quality of it is just bad, it's like what are we doing? Like, you know, I've never worn Balenciaga before, but I'm pretty sure if you buy Balenciaga, the quality, the stitching is like at least decent.
Being a being in like line with these manufacturers, you're like, oh, like you look at the list of some of the brands that they also like manufacture, you're like, wait, like some of these brands, like for example, like Miu Miu, like had a real bad publicity stunt recently with Wisdom K. So you look at that and you're like, and it's like I'm sitting here like trying to do my best to make sure I can even, because it's a bit of a split as a designer at my level, because it's like, okay, do I want to sell 500 whatever pieces? Yeah, cool, but to get to even that manufacturing level and that quality, it's like one thing. But then it's like you see Miu Miu selling that same garment for $1,000. And then the buttons don't even work. Like my buttons work. Yeah. Like I work hard to make sure my buttons at least work, and I'm selling it to you for not even a third of that price. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I think though? I think it's like it's indicative of what, you know how you said the customer or the consumer votes with their dollars. Yeah. I feel like it's showing that consumers care more about belonging to a community versus an actual clothes. Because I feel like if you were to go back, like, you know, you watch archive shows, if you go back to like the 90s or even early 2000s, like, bro, the design could be fire. Yeah. If the quality of the clothes suck, people were not not buying it. People were not buying it. Like it's insane. Like there's still LV bags probably like from the 80s that still hold up to this day. Straight up. And I be seeing people get LV bags now, and it's like things aren't like adding up.
I don't. It's almost like it's half and half. Like, actually, no. It's straight up. Let's just call it what it is. It's company greed. At the end of the day, they can easily produce. These companies have billions of dollars. You can produce the best bags in the world. Like, take a look at like a brand like Hermes that has like the best ateliers in the world in house. They might not make $80 billion like Louis Vuitton does. They might turn over say 500 million, but their quality of work is all in house, and they're not mass producing on the same scale. Yeah, it's just greed at the end of the day. Like, when these bags are need $10 to make, bro.
Yeah. But I also think, bro, it's just the consumer. The consumer, bro, I'm telling you, every piece of art in any industry is reflective of the times that we in. I was reading somewhere that there's like a loneliness epidemic where people feel alone, like men feel alone, like women feel alone, all this stuff, right? And it's like, isn't it weird that this coincides with the rise of like brands and like storytelling within the brands? Like brands are so focused on storytelling. Like brands, especially fashion brands, right, will spend so much money on the marketing versus the actual clothes, people, the quality, because the people care more about the marketing and like belonging to this group than anything else. I was even I was like reading this like Billboard article, and the guy was like saying how there can't be any superstars in music anymore because now it's like a bunch of niches. There's superstars within the niches, like, because people want to belong within the groups.
That specific,
you know, like there will never be another Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson was global. Like musicians nowadays aren't global. Even if like, if I had named the biggest artist right now, like maybe like Taylor Swift, right? There's mad people that don't like Taylor Swift. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure back in the 80s, everybody would have loved Taylor Swift, you know, because she's the biggest. Yeah. But it's like, if you don't like Taylor Swift, you probably like Beyonce. If you don't like Beyonce, you probably like Rihanna. Yeah. There's like all these people and they just stay there. Yeah. Because they want to be like, oh, this is my group.
And even in those subgroups, it's like Rihanna's like what? Her Instagram count is like 200 million, something crazy like that. It's like, even in these small niches, and then you even think about, okay, like what is someone you can say is like a mini Rihanna? Like the name that comes to me is like Tyla. Like think Tyla's like obviously like I don't think she's like same like level of Rihanna, like sonically and all that stuff. But it's like if you think of like it's like she's a Rihanna baby, like Good Girl Gone Bad, like island aesthetic, like a bit of it is like, yeah, you get to a certain point where you become so big, you start having babies. Like that Tyla's a Rihanna baby, and that's not a bad thing because Tyla's in herself is a huge artist now. Yeah, because she even came from like the vein of an even huger artist.
But like, isn't it interesting though that the fans don't converge? Like you're a baby of her, but Tyla fans are not like, they're not the same. Like this Tyla stans would not be Rihanna stans. Yeah, and vice versa. If you're a Rihanna stan, you're probably not like a Tyler stan. Like it's a whole separate thing, and I feel like it's indicative of like the times that we're in. Like people want to belong to something. It don't matter what it is, and like once you find like your niche, you have more success within that niche than like trying to be this huge global superstar. Like I don't think I've seen anything, at least in terms of creativity, that's like on a scale of like everybody loves it, everybody agrees that, oh, this is good. Maybe just Levi's at this point. That's the only brand.
That's classic.
Like there's like very few. Like brands all have aesthetics, and if you stick to that, it's like your thing. If you like ALD, then you'll probably like Raf. But not Raf, but you'll probably like Ralph. Yeah. Ralph Lauren or something like that. But if you really like Ralph, you're not gonna get ALD because you really like Ralph.
And that's the thing too. It's like there's almost was like a shift, especially in fashion. There used to be like, for example, like early '90s, there used to be like, yo, if you're a Dior kid, you're not a Helmut Lang kid. Like you don't you stick to that clique. Now it's almost like people don't really care. Yo, you see fit videos and he's like, yo, I wear Rick on the shoes, Raf on the pants. Like no one really cares about the gatekeeping any aspect anymore. And I think a piece of it, is why people are it messes it up because people aren't as competitive because they know they're not competing for a complete consumer now. Like you might even be like, for example, like Telfar could just go and they can only sell just their bags and be fine, make $millions a year because people are gonna buy that bag and then wear it with a Miu Miu glasses and a Miu Miu tank top, whatever the case may be. They could just have just that piece of it. There's not like that person, that brand aren't trading like, hey, you're wearing head to toe me. You know what I'm saying? And that's a piece of where I'm like trying to even like figure it out. Where it's
also, I think I'm not on TikTok often, but my girl was telling me on TikTok in terms of like fashion, there's like micro trends within fashion. So like even if you are like heavy into Telfar, because the bags are popping on TikTok, you get the bag, and then like let's say like a hat from AOD's popping right now, then you get the hat. So then you start getting like little things from each brand.
Oh no, Von Dutch hats are coming back in. Let me cop that. Whatever the mini trend is, and I think it's like it's a good and bad thing. But I really want like to get in the aspect of like, okay, like growing that niche and just grow, like, because you can become you can go from niche to superstar in the sense that look at Tyler. Like Tyler was very, especially early career, very niche. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, like even just like subject matter, things like that. But it's like he kept on like evolving, and now it's like now he's can sell out any arena.
But even now, bro, I would still say he's niche.
And that's the thing. He's a superstar in his niche. Like he's like you can be like niche, and then you like niche superstar. Like Tyler's like he can sell 200K copies.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because some of you would think about like Tyler versus like say like someone as big as like Young Thug, and you're like, nah, Young Thug's gonna outsell Tyler. No, he hasn't outsell Tyler in like since a fair 2020 or something like that.
You know, it's interesting.
Like,
I was reading an article about Young Thug.
Yeah.
I've been on like a Young Thug obsession recently. I don't know why.
We got Young Thug paintings coming out.
but literally, like, bro, I thought in my mind where I lived, right? Like when you growing up like in the hood, Young Thug at that time, like let's say 2015,
he felt like he's the biggest artist in the world.
I thought he was the biggest artist in the world.
Or even like think about like telling somebody from like think about telling a nigga from Atlanta like, yo, Drake is bigger than Future. They gonna look at you like, what?
Yeah.
Drake is bigger than who? Than Future? Future the biggest artist in the world. Same thing.
I thought like him, like all the southern like rap artists was like the biggest artist in the world.
And then come to find out, wasn't the biggest artist in the world in 2015, 16. Come on, bro.
But then come to find out. The reason that he kept making mixtapes was because even though he had a huge fan base, they weren't buying. Nobody was buying. Like he couldn't sell.
I do feel like he didn't release because he didn't go #1 until like 2018 or something.
Bro,
like
that was his first album. He didn't release his first album until 2018.
So it's the album with
so much fun. The green.
That makes sense though. Now I feel like that makes sense. That's crazy.
Yeah. Everything else was a mixtape.
You're not lying though, because I'm thinking like, okay, Slime Season this, those really were all tapes.
Yeah.
That's
his
crazy.
Fan base wasn't. The thing is, he had a lot of influence, but it didn't convert to sales. And then it's like, I don't know if he switched to sound or like what exactly happened, but then there was like, it took years of building that to get to that point. But he was so niche. In my mind, I'm like, oh, he's huge. Like when Lifestyle came out, I was like, I heard it everywhere, all the time, nonstop. So to hear the fact that didn't go platinum, I'm like, how did that go platinum?
Because I heard it went diamond in the
street. You know, but it's like that, or like oftentimes it might just be where like who was listening to it. Like I remember like NBA Youngboy, for instance, like now he goes platinum all the time because of YouTube. Back then, YouTube wasn't counted in like streams or sales.
Yeah, that's true.
So if Young Thug back then, like they counted YouTube, bro, niggas in the hood don't have Spotify. Like we not using, we using fucking YouTube getting this shit illegally.
YouTube, they be playing the video walking around like this. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, and so like now it's like the rules should change, and like now you see people like NBA Youngboy, who's like a huge superstar in his niche, just because they changed the rules. So it's like things like that. That's where crazy thing. Really don't NBA Youngboy
is like not really a global superstar, but like American
wise. Did you see his tour?
That's what I'm saying. Like, but I'm saying like globally wise, like he might not be able to do a show in like Saudi Arabia or something like that. But at the same time, like he's so huge in America. Like, yo, I'm talking like seeing, especially like it's the youth too. So like that fan base, he's gonna be big for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
Like until that fan base either grows out of that music, but as long as he continues to grow with them, he's gonna be rich forever.
And it's funny too, because like I was watching this YouTube video. I don't even know who the artist was. I wish I remembered his name, but it was a musician. He's like a young musician, right? I think he's like 17, 18, bro, huge Youngboy fan, right? So because he was a huge Youngboy fan, he saw Youngboy was featured on Tyler's album. Never listened to Tyler ever, right? And it was the song "What's Your Name," and then that's how he found out about Tyler.
I love the verse on that too,
right? So then he listened to the whole album. I think it was "Call Me If You Get Lost."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Damn, this album is nice. Like, who produced this?" He looks at who produced it. It was all Tyler.
Yeah.
And then because of that, he was like, "Oh, that's when he got his first like keyboard and started producing."
Wow.
And now this dude is like a rapper and like, so it's like things like that. It's like, I think the niche thing is like really good because now artists who couldn't blow up before are not having the chance to like really be huge.
And there's so many different ways to get eyes on you. Like just it's just what it is. And I feel like that kind of segues into the next thing I kind of wanted to talk about was, what do you feel like are certain pieces of like learning and unlearning in your artist journey? Like, okay, what type of even like artist do I want to even portray? There's so many different aspects of it. Like, how do I, even when we were off camera talking about content, how do I want to portray myself in content? Do I want to do long format versus short format because of the field that I'm in? And even even like things like adding in like what we just talked about, like, okay, like is the goal to be the biggest artist in the world, or is the goal to be like the biggest artist in this specific niche, or not even try to even compete with the world, or just like be the best version of what Dimithry's world can be? Because you can build this, could be this studio now, but you could have a studio the size of this entire building in however many years, and that's only just dependent on how much you build this specific world versus trying to compete with the next, you know what I'm saying? Like, but even with art, even art design, like, yeah, it's like competition, but as we spoke about before, there's a certain piece of kind of looking at the outside that you'll just lose the pureness of your work because you're looking outside. Like, you really shouldn't even look outside at all. When it comes to like other artists and other like it's specifically to like your discipline and things like that.
Bro, honestly, and this might come off a little arrogant, but I'm trying to prove a point.
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like growing up, I didn't go to art school, I didn't do any of these things, but like my goal is to be the biggest. Like I think everybody does to an extent.
Straight up.
And even the people that we're talking about in their niches, like they want to be the biggest, but they just happen to have the niche and everything. But like I want to take over everything. Like I don't want just like to just be, you know, chill and be all humble, because I'm so tired of this whole thing of like, oh, as artists we got to be humble and be grateful, and they're like, no, I don't. No. Like I work too hard, my ideas like are too good, I spend too much time on my ideas for me to not think like I want to be the best. There's like right now, I'm gonna call him out because I don't even care, but like somebody like Jeff Koons, right? He's like one of the biggest artists in the world, right? He doesn't make his own artwork. Like I don't care what.
And even some
say.
of the bigger artists back in the day, like for example, think of like Warhol. Like Warhol at one point didn't touch canvases.
Yeah, but even with Warhol, I feel like there was like a point to be made with it. Like if you're not doing it, I guess like his whole thing was about mass production and like commodity and all this. And
even like he was like damn near the first artist to become like a star, like a known star of an artist. Because that was like then, and then like, because even if you think about like Basquiat really got huge post death, to be honest. Like that, even the people being like, oh shit, that also was going on. But Warhol really was the one that took the gun, because he understood celebrity and mass production. Like he knew that like there's a certain level of art that will get stuck if you don't aim to be the biggest. Like
he was trying to make a lot, like there was a point to be made with it, right? I feel like when you bring up somebody like Jeff Koons, right, I think like you could tell he's just doing it for the money, and I feel like that's just a bad message to send, like just show other artists like, why is like one of the biggest artists in the world, like, because then you're gonna have
a generation that's looking up to you and think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. And it's just like, I'm so tired, bro. I'm so tired of just like the way the art world feels like it should be, of like, if a celebrity decides to paint, we're just gonna give them a solo show, this huge gallery. Like that's a terrible message to send to artists like who are actually trying, who are going to school, investing thousands of their own dollars to pick somebody that like doesn't care that much. Like I'm not trying to hate or nothing, but I just feel like my point is,
honest,
my point is, I'm trying to make a point is like, you could be the biggest without like school,
or even having to like sell out.
You could be the biggest just based off of your ideas. Like I don't want to just do this just to be like, oh yeah, you know, I've done enough and I'm done. Like, nah, bro. I want my name to be remembered. Like I'm trying to go down in the history books. This isn't like a joke to me. Like I think that's like the only thing I want to make very clear, is like I'm not in this just to like goof around and fuck around. Like I'm in this to like take over. Like it needs to be like like Picasso, Dimithry, like Victor, same breath. I need people to be competing. Like, damn,
like,
who's
you gotta really speak it, because like for example, like people thought 2015 Kanye was crazy when he said, I will be a billionaire. You're gonna remember me like Steve Jobs, like these names, Walt Disney. You're gonna remember me like that. And like even if people, because of like certain things he said or whatever, in case we might not give him that credit, but he became a billionaire off of his ideas and like that's insane for us to like watch a black man from Chicago throughout his whole career, first just making some raps, then getting into fashion, then getting into like literal mass production of all different types of items. You look at that and you're like, that like you have to be like it's a piece of like being an artist and being like want to be the biggest. You just have to be fucking crazy. So there's no other way, like nice way to say it, that you have to be like, for example, like people are even like getting the first taste of that with like a Timothy Chalamet, but I'm like, yo, I was 12 watching Kanye, 11 watching Kanye. Timothy Chalamet is like, that's new. That's new to y'all. But like I've been adopting this attitude since 11, being like, not even when I even fully had the confidence necessarily, because it's like obviously when you're 11, 12, you just figuring life out, whatever. Like I'm not saying that, but like once I really got into the discipline, and like even like I was saying, like last year felt like the year I really things clicked, where I can damn near work with anybody I want to work with, and now it's like the process of documenting what the hell is even being built, and then talking to creatives who are friend or not friends, but just like inspire me to even like continue to do what I do. That next aspect of it is like, okay, I want to document you. Like I want to document obviously document you, but document myself, and document like other things and creatives that are inspiring me while I'm on this journey, because I don't even want to know that I'm making my beautiful dark twisted fantasy. I want to be in it and documenting it, so then when niggas look back, they're like, yo, that's crazy, he just documented the build up of all of this. And I feel like that's another piece that artists like should tap into, because like I was saying off camera, like, yo, imagine that documentary. Like what? Or imagine a graduation, like 3-hour, 4-hour long documentary.
But that's the thing though, like those eras are only so significant to you because to even have the balls to say like this is gonna be one of the best albums and then actually do it, that's what makes it so like inspiring to you. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm so tired of being humble. I feel like especially in my field, like a lot of the artists that I know are like, especially you have to be humble specifically. You have to be like almost like humble and be grateful for everything that you get. But it's like I work for what I get. Like I don't have a gallery. Like I'm still selling these pieces though. I'm not gonna wait. Like I'm so tired of that. Like I feel like people tell me all these rules. It's like rules after rules after rules. Like, oh, you can't do this. You have to get accepted to this and this. Yeah, you have to do it like this. You have to sell it like this.
One of the because I do want to ask like who some of your mentors were, but one of my mentors, like when I first even like started this clothing, like really started the clothing brand, but then when 2020, where I was like, okay, like I'm really gonna take this serious. Like COVID hit, no job, no nothing. And I'm like, wait, I'm just gonna make clothes. Like it's very similar situation. It's always COVID, ain't it? It's always COVID. It's always COVID. That really was like, wait, nah, I'm gonna like make clothes, and that was the thing that cemented online that year. And then 2021, I did pop-up series. So now niggas is coming outside. So now I'm getting to meet everyone. So then it's like I get recognized around because I did all those series and that networking. So then at these events, those are the same people that are going to these pop-ups and then now do their own thing. Like people like Akeem. I met Yanko at a pop-up. I met Akeem at a pop. Like I met all these different people like through the work. So now when I go back, like for example, like even though you never came to a pop-up, at least I don't think, but we knew each other from around that time period, and just now we're getting able to link up, and now we're at two different completely levels of our careers. So now when I go sit down with Yanko and do an interview with him, sit down with Akeem who does Burgundy, do an interview with him, it's like now you can sit down and be like, wait, even though we didn't necessarily know what we were building, now we're at this crazy new level. And then even think about when we sit down and do say a 2-year, like in 2 years, like we sit down and do another interview, this might have to be in Paris. Like, you know what I'm saying? We might have to, you know, also Tony, you know what I'm saying? Also Tony Yayo shit, like, yo, I was eating smoked duck on the way to Morocco, nigga, like, you feel me? Y'all pancakes, I love that, man, bro. It's so funny, bro. But it's like a piece of it's like, yo, like, there's so many different things that hold us back, especially as Black creatives in this world, that it's like, it's almost, you know, I literally feel like and especially now, I felt the most kind of like friction when I showcase my confidence. And I'm like, I get why Kanye went fucking crazy, because he was arguably the most confident Black man. Like I was even like Michael Jackson, he was the biggest superstar, but Michael Jackson, in terms of like how he tailored his personality, was more like, okay, like you think he's more humble, even though behind the scenes we know he's the biggest artist in the world. We know he wasn't humble in the behind the scenes, but Kanye's outwardly that. And I feel like there's times where I'll get friction when I showcase that, but that's how I know I'm doing something right.
You know what's funny? Like I feel like somebody like Kanye and Michael Jackson, they're they're the same person, just two sides of they're the two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, one is like italicized.
Yeah, it's like they're the same, bro. They're the same exact person. Because I remember there was an interview, Michael Jackson. He was like, he wrote before Thriller came out. He was like, I want to make the biggest album of all time. Like it wasn't like after that year. He said all time.
And he was what, 24 when you made Thriller?
Yeah, and he was working on it like 22, 23. So it came out.
I'm like, y'all gotta tighten up. Bro.
Yeah, right. And so like when he wrote that and he put it on his mirror, so every day he woke up, like he would see it every day, and he would remind himself like, I'm trying to make the biggest of all time. Like he doesn't aim for like
you can't,
you know.
So for the last question, well, it's kind of like two questions. So for this year, what are some of the goals and things like that that you might have, you know, that you want to accomplish by the end of the year, even quarterly, next month? It could be whatever your next series is or something like that. But then to kind of like go all the way, what is your before I die? I try to I have to ask this for every one of my artists. It's on theme, it's part of the brand, but essentially that could either be okay, like that could be I want my name to be remembered, history books, whatever the case may be, but like what if you could say, hey, the perfect life of like I'm on my deathbed, like I accomplished X, Y, and Z, or even just like to get to a certain level, what's kind of like for this year, and then like your end goal, like all like to the end's goal.
I feel like this year I definitely want to like be able to get a bigger studio, like a really nice one. Honestly, I feel like as an artist, like your workspace is almost indicative of like your success in a way. It's like
the piece, you
know what I mean? Like the better, the bigger, the more comfortable your space is. It's like, oh damn, you really making it work. That, and I also want to like try to do more things out the country. Cause I feel like when I'm in America, it is like a bubble. I went to Tokyo last year, and it made me realize like how much of a bubble that I was in here, and I want to just like
your oyster.
Yeah, bro. Like I want to see like what the art community is like in London, Paris, Tokyo, like all that. Like I want to see, because I'm only limited to what I have here, and like what is here may not be what it's like everywhere. The world is such a big place, so I want to do that, and just also I want to make more products that's like accessible. I feel like paintings, like people want paintings, but not everybody can afford paintings, and it's also like a disservice to myself to like just make them cheap so people can get them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it takes a lot of time and makes a lot of money to make it. So just make things that like people can at least have something from me, you know, like more things like that. And then before I die, bro, like I was saying, I want to be at like a Picasso level. Like I want to make the highest form of art that I can while still like having my dignity, like knowing that like I worked on it, even if I have like assistance, but it's like I know I'm working on this, like this is me, I came up with this idea, like this isn't, I don't have a factory of people making this, and I don't have to like compromise who I am and do a bunch of like BS to be the best. Like I feel like I want to show especially black kids too, that you can do it. Bro, like people don't understand, like I'm from Haiti, like I'm not from America, like
straight up, like,
sometimes when people would talk the way I talk and like the stuff that I make, people think that, oh yeah, like I was raised in America, don't get me wrong, but I'm from Haiti. Yeah. Like my mom barely speak English. Like I speak Creole like to her all the time. Like so I have a lot to, not just to prove, but I know where I'm from, and like I want to take this as far as possible, because like why not? Like the fact that I'm even here right now is like a miracle. Like, you know, I'm not even supposed to be here right now, but I am. So yeah, I'm just trying to take it as far as possible, just to show that anybody can do this, and you don't have to compromise all these stupid rules that people make. Like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Boxes, like even from like what you're doing right now is like you took that shift, you took that leap to get here, but then you're also taking the different aspect of like certain things, like the adding in the product to it. Like there's not enough artists that like do the product side but actually do it good. Like you see like artists are like, yeah, I sell prints, cool, but to me even like a print to me is like even more devaluing the art, because it's like it only will look that good at this scale. Like I saw the artwork at this scale. I'm not gonna buy a print that's 8x8. Like that's completely devaluing the art, versus if you turn this into a necklace or a whatever the case may be, like turning that into an actual product that is still accessible but it doesn't devalue the art necessarily. Because like obviously, like for example, like the blasphemy like Jesus chip, so fire, by the way.
Thank you.
But like something like that doesn't devalue the art. It almost like adds another perspective to the art, versus like, here's buy my 8x8 print. Like nah.
I think I think what's the only thing that's cool about prints to me is like, sometimes at least people who like art, they might like the art, like the painting itself. They can't afford the painting, and they don't care for like chains, like the chains. Like you might think it's fire, right? But that might not be somebody else's style. Yeah. That's the only thing that I feel like is difficult.
Just gotta make more product.
Yeah, it's like that's the only thing. That's the only thing that's difficult with products. Sometimes is like especially when it's clothes. It's like you might make fire clothes, but that's just not their style. So now it's like your clothes are fire, but that's just not their style.
Yeah.
So then it's like with prints, it's like they just want the artwork. They don't want anything else but the artwork. Yeah. Some people have told me that, because I used to think that like that too. I'm like, damn, like why do some people care more about prints than like XYZ? And it's literally just because like I want the artwork. I want this in my house.
Yeah, real. Like however they can get it. Like
however they can get it. And sometimes it's just they don't even have the wall space. They're just like, look, I don't got the wall space. But
yeah, especially living in New York, it's like, yeah, you really definitely don't have.
And then making things like this size, it's like, bro, where am I? The only places you could put these things is like galleries, museums, and if you rich and got a big home, you can put this in there. Facts. You know,
right underneath like the main couch. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, that would be so sick. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's those are the main things, man. I just want to take over everything. Like, I don't care how that sounds, but that's it.
Yeah. That to me honestly sounds like an amazing answer, and I couldn't have thought of something even better than that, because I think it really just speaks to just the testimony of like everything that you have done and will accomplish. I'm rooting for you. Everyone here is rooting for you as well. Thank you for the time, brother.
Bro. Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, it's a wrap.
Nice.
Yeah, this painting is gonna be the largest one in the series that I'm doing. I can't wait to finish it. It's the whole concept is gonna be like a whole like city. It's gonna be called the City of Angels, and this is like Madonna with child. It's gonna be Madonna with child, which is essentially just like the typical, you know, Mary with Jesus when he's born and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, she's having the kid, and then like the city's watching over her. I thought it was like a cool commentary and just like, you know, the modern day version of that. Like, what would be the modern day version of that? I was like, what if Jesus was born in the hood, like, you know, and he was born in like a big city, and then like he has like all these people watching over him and things like that. You know, rewriting narratives, I guess, instead of like just showing the same narratives over and over. You know, makes it interesting. I got a lot of dope stuff here. I just painting a lot. Right? It's one of my favorites. I made this for Christmas. It's like my first time ever painting like anything for Christmas, and it's so sick because it's called A Christmas Carol. It's kind of like that Ebenezer Scrooge story, and like, you know how he gets visited by 3 ghosts. So he's like the Scrooge of the painting, and then there's like 3 people. Like, so this one's a ghost. Everybody's like looking at this one's a ghost, and this one's like a ghost. So there's 3 ghosts that's gonna visit him that night. That's why he's like alone on Christmas. He got the gifts, but nobody's there with him, which I thought was really cool. Let me see. I'm also working on. Let me see. Hold on. We go over here. Yeah, these are some of my favorite paintings. This one right here is. This is a painting about steroid abuse. Actually, it's supposed to show like a bodybuilder who has a steroid addiction, and like the steroids are kind of like making him bleed, not bleed, but killing him from within. So he's like literally pouring out, but he looks like really strong and mighty within the frame. I thought this was really cool. People be thinking it's Kimbo Slice though. Like,
it does look like Kimbo a bit.
It does look like Kimbo a little bit. I didn't even know. But in bodybuilding, there's like a terminology. It's called spread your wings. When you make like your lats like really big, and so like I put like an eagle on his like back to kind of show, one, because they represent strength, but then also it's like you could put the wings literally on his wings on his back. This is one of my favorite paintings. I'm gonna take this down. Also a part of the series that I'm doing.
Dope.
This one's called False Prophets. You was talking about it in the interview, but yeah, it's just about like how people use religion for like, you know, their terrible reasons, and to take advantage of people. This one's really cool. So it's like showing a guy and he's praying over the cross, and like, you know, God is like trying to strike him down, but then the lightning kind of hits the cross, and it, you know, bursts into flames, you know. And this was partly inspired by Children of the Corn. There's like a scene at at the end when the kid is on there, and then like he gets striked and like the thing blows up. But there's like a bunch of different layers in here. Back in the day, the KKK used to burn crosses, and in the beginning when they were burning crosses, it was because like they thought like they were being Christians and like trying to show how Christian-y they were by burning the cross, which makes no sense. But so then I took that and I was like, oh, that's kind of similar to how like false, you know, prophets like use the word of God. Like they'll like take religion and then be like, yeah, we're doing this for God, and the whole time they're just taking advantage of you. So it's like the same thing, And yeah, also dope piece, but like the composition I used was triangle, which is also the same composition that directors use, and I thought it was so sick, and like lighting and everything, the angles. So this is fire. Let me see what else I got here. Let's see what else I got here. Got a bunch of stuff. This right here, one of my favorite paintings too. It's a CD, and this was like for a piece, not a piece, but a show that I had last year, for at a museum show. It was just about like nostalgia and like how the end of the era came about. It's literally called End of Era, and how people kind of crave that tangibility of like from products and stuff. Fun fact: when I made this painting, I also made a real CD version of it. So at home, I have the CD, and when you open it up, it has like it's called Dimithry's Greatest Hits, and it has like songs that inspired me. So like all the songs that inspired me to be the artist that I am was like literally on the CD. And when I made this painting, I just gave the CD out to like 10 people. I think it was like 10 or 20 people. So like somebody got them out there. It's like hand signed or something. It's out there.
No, that's dope.
Let's see. I forgot the name of this. I can't lie. There's so many things I forget the names of this. But this one was really dope. I just wanted to show like the absurdity of like the world that I was building. And so it's like just a guy walking through the park, but you see like all the crazy stuff going on, like shooting stars and like how it's like wacky. Sometimes I just make pieces to like build the whole world. So I was telling before, like it's absurd. Like everything's absurd. Like the way they look, and it's easier to tell serious, or it's easier to discuss serious topics when you show things like this, because it's like it doesn't feel like so serious because it's not real people. I'm telling stories, And so yeah, just cool dude. This right here was a part of a solo show I had last year. It's called Baby Boy. It's supposed to look like one of those portraits that you would see in your grandma's crib, and when you walk in. And then this is just like a study on just like the warmth, like how warm colors you can use that to get the nostalgia look. So it's supposed to look like a little boy, and like he got the portraits, and I use like the brown colors and stuff like that to kind of make it look more nostalgic, and I add like the red just to make it look like pop out and stuff. But it's one of my favorites too. Very intimate. But yeah. Should I keep showing more stuff?